In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Meta i11 Expert Advisor. So this one is quite interesting because there's both red flags, but also there's some green flags. And there's some interesting signals behind it as well, which could be unique to kind of dive into and see what's going on. So starting off with the actual page here, there's just a ton of AI jargon, which is usually a pretty bad sign. Because don't get me wrong, as we all know, you can definitely use AI in a trading robot, but anytime that people start putting in like ChatGPT written sales pages that say really like jargony, fancy sounding words which don't really mean anything, or at least I don't think they mean anything, it's probably not a great sign. When you see like tri-core cognitive engine with the reactive stability engine, like what does that mean, right? It's just like it's meant to sound fancy and confuse people, but it doesn't actually have any sort of like real meaning or value behind it. So if we kind of continuously read a bit through here, once again, it's heavily relying on the AI wordage. It says neural error immunity system, and that's why there's no losses in the back test, apparently because it uses a recursive cognitive learning system that evaluates every trade at a micro level resolution. It's like, great, like that's why you have a 100% win rate bot due to some sort of obscure neural whatever. And then apparently it also says that it evolves and it upgrades its intelligence over time. So clearly this is absolute bullshit. Like there's nothing really going on here. However, if we go and actually look at the bot, there might be a real strategy behind it. It's just that this exact kind of this wordage is not what that strategy is. So if we kind of keep going through it, it says that really it's meant to be some sort of smart AI intelligence bot, and that's the underlying pattern behind it. But in reality, if we look at the signals, we can see that they actually do have some semi-impressive signals. Like right here, if we go to their MyFX, we can see that indeed it's like a crazy impressive return where they've turned $1.7 thousand into 14,000. Pardon me, not one. They've turned they've made 14,000. They've made a return of 1,723%. Pardon me. They made deposits of around $800 and they turned it into $14,585. The one thing is, as this is on MyFX, we don't really know for sure too much about this signal. Like also at the same time, this could be a totally different bot. Like you have no idea. It could very well be that they just went out and they bought somebody else's bot. Who knows? It could be running some sort of grid system. We also don't have a ton of information here about the actual system. They've also taken withdrawals. They could have just been using an enormous stop loss and hope that it didn't hit too often. So honestly, it doesn't give us a lot of insights. And the one signal that they've shared on the MQL5 marketplace is a well trade signal. And that, as we know, doesn't mean absolutely anything because well trade is a scam broker where it's super easy to manipulate the signals. So it doesn't really give us a ton of insights there either. So this signal is totally useless because it's well trade. And this one here, like why they would take you off the page is a little bit suspicious. Like if you're going to sell on the MQL5 marketplace, like why wouldn't you just take this signal and put it on the MQL5 site? That's kind of odd. The performance itself is looking pretty good. They're using a real broker. Like obviously it's looking beyond pretty good. It's looking extraordinary with a really good broker. But still like something seems off to me because why would they put you off platform, right? And it is a real USD denominated account, but you still never know. So yeah, it's looking a little bit fishy. So frankly, if we can't really see too much from this thing. But if we go and run a back test here on the Vantage broker, we can get a bit more insights. So they are actually taking losses in the back test. That's kind of contrary to the sales page. And here we have an 88% win rate with roughly a 1 to 1. So that's slightly better than 1-to-1 risk reward, which is actually not a terrible sign to see. It's just the win rate is way too high for what I would anticipate. They seem to be opening. It's not quite a grid, but it looks like a basic mean reversion system, but they're opening many different positions at once. And maybe it's grid-like, but it looks more like just averaging in just many positions are being triggered by a similar trigger. And if we look here at the actual back test, a telltale sign of grids is to look to see, or a martingale, like exponential lot sizing, which is also just not happening here. It's just increasing with the balance, so it doesn't appear to be a martingale. And it's just like, yeah, having these clusters of orders for some reason. But it looks too good to be true. I would venture that there's some sort of heavily over-optimized Bollinger Band or stochastic or something like that, which is actually causing it to enter. Doesn't quite look like a history reader because there are losses. It's not just like a straight line up. So my guess would be cherry-picked and heavily over-optimized indicator-based system. The AI stuff I think is mostly just total crap here. Like clearly this is not a neural network. It's just like flashing and lots of whiz bangs and buzzes. Like it looks pretty, but granted there's nothing really here. So yeah guys, this is some sort of just like indicator system where they ran a cajillion permutations on a historical backtest. They probably picked the best one, and they're averaging a bunch of positions into one. It could very well work for a certain period of time because, you know, you can flip a coin a few times and still make money if you just happen to catch it in a lucky run. But I'm of the opinion that this probably won't have too much longevity, just because like it seems to be running a pretty basic strategy. First of all, running mean reversion on gold is so hard that like good luck doing this profitably unless you really know what you're doing. And it's looking a little bit too good to be true just by seeing the actual backtest here. So yeah, guys, I don't think it's a very good bot. I would stay away. Lots of red flags, scam broker, external signal that looks almost too good to be true, no discernible strategy, mean reversion on gold. Not great. Like maybe there's something here, like people, some of these bots which I think are fishy, a lot of them do actually work okay for a few months before going boom, but I would still probably avoid this one for now. Guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.